Happy New Year, guys. It's 2026. Let's pray that it's better than the last. No, I'm kidding. I have a really good feeling about 2026, but before I get into any of that, I have so many channel downloads and I miss y'all so much. I've just been in hermit mode, and y'all, when I tell y'all I have so many channel downloads to come on here, y'all prepare to be sick of me this year, okay? Prepare to be sick of me. I feel very called. You know what? We gonna save that for another time. Y'all, I ain't even gonna speak on it. I'm gonna just let y'all see. Now, back to this channel download. Your senses are about to heighten. I've channeled this message before regarding your other senses are about to tap in. But in the prior message, I was talking about how one of your senses is going to be taken away from you so that all of your other senses can heighten. For a lot of you, it's your sight. Not to say that you're about to go blind, but for a lot of you guys, you aren't going to be able to see 10, 15, 70 different steps ahead of you. You're only going to be able to see, you're not going to be able to see ahead of you, which means that your other senses are going to have to be, are about to heighten. And if you remember in the previous message that I talked about this, I talked about how doctors know that when one sense is taken, all of your other senses now have to heighten to compensate for that. So for a lot of you guys, like I mentioned, your sight is about to, you're not going to be able to see too far ahead of you. So even with all of the predictions, you're not going to be able to see too far ahead of you. So all of your other senses are about to heighten. I got this channel message regarding smell. I was sitting in my bed, right? And all of a sudden I got this whiff of like Heineken and like cologne and like a cookout. And it immediately reminded me of like my aunt. It immediately reminded me of a particular moment that happens, during the summer times when you're out and you're feeling it reminded me of certain emotions. And for a lot of you guys, that's actually going to be your story as well. Like your other senses are now about to heighten. So, and this has happened for me before as well, too. I smelled something before the moment actually came. And I can't remember specifically how this happened before, but I'll give you an example. I had my aunt, my auntie Margaret. I love her. She passed on a while back. But she has a particular smell in her home. A particular smell that when I pick up on it, and even my aunt, when I pick up on her scent, it reminds me, it immediately brings me back to nostalgia. And also, there is this particular scent of this guy that I kept picking up on. I smelled him before I met him, which seems weird if you're not in the spiritual community. I know that this sounds a little like off, like, what do you mean? Like, and it's not a bad scent, but like I kept picking up on this scent of cologne, and like it smelled really good, right? So it was like I kept smelling this masculine energy before and then I met him. This was in a prior season of my life, but it was like I kept smelling masculine energy, and then I actually met the masculine. So when I did come in contact with him, he felt familiar already. It was like, oh, it was you I was picking up on. For some of you guys, it's going to be like that, because if you remember, like part of your senses includes your like primal energy. You now start tapping into primal energy. If you notice, like if you think of like wolves in a pack, or dogs with scents, they have these senses about them that, if you remember, even in the previous message I told you guys, they can sense when it's about to rain. So they sense it and they sit down, and you're like, well, what's going on with them? And then moments later, this huge thunderstorm is coming. It's like that. You all are about to start picking up on your other senses now. So it's not just sight. You're now about to start picking up on smell You're about to hear. You're about to feel. And this actually ties into a lot of channel messages I was talking to you all about previously regarding your emotions. You've been going through such a huge purging and a huge detox because you're now coming out of suppression. You no longer suppress your emotions. I wonder why. You no longer suppress yourself in the ways that you used to do. So now you have these newfound emotions that you're starting to feel. For some of you guys, what perched up first was the negative emotions, like envy, jealousy, anger, sadness, depression. So you've been in a really dark state because what flooded you first was all of the emotions that you suppressed in the negative aspect. Because essentially those are the first emotions that you learn to suppress. When you're a child, if you keep getting reprimanded for crying, naturally you're going to start to suppress yourself or reprimand your own emotions when you start to cry outside of that situation. The first emotions you suppress are the negative ones, and then you get glorified for the good ones. So it makes sense that the first emotions that you felt during this first wave of self-acknowledgement or self-actualization is the negative emotions coming up first. So for some of you guys, you're still in this, although it's a new year, it's still the winter solstice, right? So you're still in this hibernation period. You're still like groggy, still, you don't really have the energy. Like this is about to move. It's a gradual process. That's why I said like it comes in waves. This is a gradual process of coming out. And I mentioned this in a previous message that I recorded, but like you're about to be in sync. For some of my feminines out there, your cycle is about to sync with the natural progression of nature. Meaning your cycle may come a little bit earlier. Your cycle may come a little bit later. It's going to sync with the process of nature. And it's because as the flowers bloom, so will you. So will your senses. So if you notice, it's not an energy of like, I need to get up, I need to do, I need to run. No. For a lot of you, the first couple of months of this year, it's going to be a gradual buildup of you getting your energy back, you getting back up again, you slowly starting to feel like yourself again. So don't reprimand yourself, right? Because as you slowly start to feel your emotions and you purged out all of this negative energy, this gunk, the doom and gloom, the dark cloud that was hovering over your head, what now starts to come up is some of the more positive emotions. You're going to learn how to start balancing and navigating your emotions in such a way that your spiritual gifts are also going to come out. So, like I said, for some of you guys, if this is like, let's say, for example, there's a particular person that you're meant to meet. It doesn't have to be romantic. It can be platonic. You may start picking up on them before you actually meet them. For some of you guys, it may be with scent, meaning you may start to smell this masculine energy, like a particular cologne, and it's like pheromones, right? It's like, what is like, I keep picking up on this masculine energy. You'll be able to smell or pick up on his scent before you actually meet him. So then when you all meet, it's like there's something familiar about you. You picked up on him, or it may show up in your dreams. For some of you guys, it's your spiritual insight. You can't physically see this yet, but your senses are going to pick up on them. You're going to start having dreams. So if it's not romantic and it's platonic, you're going to start like feeling this, like you can feel people before you meet them. And it's the same thing with opportunities and gifts and talents and all of these. It's the same thing. You're going to pick up on it before it actually comes. And this is actually going to be a testimony to you now rebuilding your relationship with your intuition. You're now stepping into learning how to trust yourself. So it's a bit of a dance that you're going through right now, because it's almost like it's new. You're slowly coming out of it. You're slowly picking up on all these emotions. But for, again, a lot of you guys, like, you're going to start picking up on the right moves to make when it comes to your career. You're going to start picking up on the right clothes to wear. You're going to start, because it's going to be led. It's going to come from within. So your senses are about to heighten, because there are certain things you will pick up intuitively first before you see it in the physical.